Hello! Welcome to the Flute 360 podcast, where we incorporate a panoramic view of flute-related topics. I am your host, Heidi K. Begay, and this is episode 107, an interview with Annaleena Jämsä. Founded in Dallas, Texas in 1996, the Carolyn Nussbaum Music Company is renowned for its international service for flutists of all levels. The Carolyn Nussbaum Music Company is your premier resource for everything flute. Their selection of flutes, piccolos, low flutes, and head joints from dozens of makers is truly remarkable. Also, their offerings of sheet music, instrumental accessories, teaching and health resources are unmatched. Their in-house staff offer an unparalleled level of expert knowledge and personal service with a repair staff certified in all major brands. Follow the Carolyn Nussbaum Music Company through Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr to be updated with the latest news. Check out their website at fluteforyou.com. The Carolyn Nussbaum Music Company is truly your one-stop flute shop. Welcome, everyone, to another Flute 360 podcast episode. Today, my inspiring guest is Annaleena Jämsä, who is the principal flutist of the Tampere Philharmonic Orchestra and flutist of the ensemble Oslo Kammerakademi. She's a masterclass clinician and the competition coordinator of the Tampere Flute Festival. Welcome, Annaleena.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Oh, for sure. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you.
So how are you this afternoon?
I'm fine. Thank you. I've had a very nice day. I've been a lot with my kids today. I didn't work now, so today has been a normal home day, which is very busy always. So I have 2-year and 4-year-old kids, so it is very entertaining.
To say the least. Oh my gosh, you have your hands full.
Yes.
Do you mind saying what their names are?
Yes, Ariela is the name of the daughter. She's 4 now. And Herman is the boy. He's 2 years.
Oh, I love it. So what are their favorite things to do with you? Do they like to go outside and play or color?
Well, Ariela likes to draw and actually to write. She's very interested of letters. So she likes to try to write words now a lot. And Herman is very much into puzzles. So he is actually making puzzles from Monday morning to evening every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, they would like to be outside, but it's very strange winter we're having now. Yeah. It's no snow and a lot of rain and dark. So it's not so nice outside now.
Oh, interesting. So there's not a lot of snow, huh?
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah.
There came a little bit a couple of days ago, and we tried to make a snowman with my daughter, but it was full of sand everywhere. Of course, still a nice try, but we really didn't have a chance to play in snow yet this year.
Oh, that sounds like a sad snowman.
Yes.
The same. We just went home to Arizona, New Mexico, and the northern part is very mountainous. Mm-hmm. And typically around this time, it is snowy. But it was a glorious sunny weekend, and it was like 50, 55 degrees, which is so rare. So I think we're all having a very warm winter.
Yes, just waiting if it will come or not.
Oh, shoot. So for those who may not know you and your beautiful work, could you tell us a little bit about who you are and your musical background?
Yes. So as you said, I work in Tampere Philharmonic Orchestra as the principal flutist now since 2008. And Tampere is a full-size Philharmonic Orchestra, so it's a big orchestra, one of the 3 full-size philharmonies in Finland, and the only one outside of the capital, Helsinki. So we in Finland, we have many orchestras, over 20 actually. We are only 5.5 million people, but we have very many orchestras, and I've worked in a few of them before Tampere. I started my professional career 20 years ago in Kymi Sinfonietta, which is a 30-people orchestra, as a substitute principal flutist. And after a year, I got my first permanent job in Oulu Symphony Orchestra in northern Finland, which is about 60 people's orchestra. And yes, in 2008, I moved to Tampere. And in 10 and 11, I was substituting in Norway a little bit. So I worked in Norwegian Opera Orchestra for 6 months and Oslo Philharmonic for 6 months. But then I came back to Tampere, and I've been now lately, then I got the family, and I'm now based in Finland mostly. And yes, originally I'm from Kerala, which is 30 kilometers from Helsinki, and I studied in Sibelius Academy with Ilpo Mansnerus. So now we live in Vantaa, which is actually very close to where I'm from, and I'm then working in Tampere.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so jealous. I want to see your beautiful country, and it sounds amazing.
Thank you. Yes.
So you are also busy with the ensemble, right? Oslo Kammerakademi. Can you tell us about the group?
Yes. Oslo Kammerakademi is a wind chamber group. We are from 5 to 10 players according to the program. So it's a flexible combination. And the ensemble is based in Oslo. And we have members who work in the Norwegian orchestras, mostly like Oslo Philharmonic Orchestra, like our artistic leader, David Strunk. He's the solo oboe in Oslo Philharmonic. And from Norwegian Opera, Norwegian Radio Orchestra, and the wind bands around, like in Oslo and Halden. So I'm the only one who is not living in Norway. I live in Finland, so I keep traveling there when they need a flute. And we are very international, actually. We are based in Oslo, but we are from Germany and from Belgium and Italy and all around, and Finland, of course. So this combination of instrument is the idea, and the history is the harmony ensemble, which used to be very popular during the classical era on the 18th century. So at that time, the Austrian nobles, they used to have house bands like this. They originally had a couple of oboes, horns and bassoons, and later clarinets also, who played in their, if they had like outdoor garden parties, and they played serenades for them. And because there was no CD players or jukeboxes at that time, so they used this combination to play the hits of the day. And if there came like new opera, they made an arrangement and they played this music for the guests in the parties, and also, of course, original pieces. It was very, very popular at that time. And from Romantic era, there also is flute included then. Like this, normally the first oboe is then replaced with the flute. This maybe the Böhm flute has something to do with it. When the instrument was really developed a little bit better, it was better in tune and more flexible. In Mozart time, flute was not very appreciated always. It was a little bit like a side instrument for oboe players, and oboe was thought to be the real instrument, and flute was a little bit not real. Now we know, of course, it's the opposite way. No, just kidding. Yeah. I love oboe, but yes. But now we have a better technique in the instrument. So since then, Romantic times, there has been more flute also. We also often have a double bass in the combination to bring a little bit more bass in the sound. Otherwise, it can be kind of a discount because there's flutes and oboes, clarinets are so strong. And we are using historical horns, which makes this ensemble a little bit special. it gives a special sound and a little bit different balance when we use like romantic horns in romantic music and otherwise modern instruments. So this is one specialty of Oslo Kammerakademi.
I love it. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I was going to ask you, are there any historical instruments that are used? And you answered my question. So yeah, you're right. That would add a special timbre to the group for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. So you are on the album Leipzig with the ensemble.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, what lessons did you learn along the way with recording in such a group?
Yes, it is very challenging. Also very rewarding, of course, but we have some challenges. The combination of instruments is quite demanding because all the attacks of the instruments are very different. And of course, the different sounds and overtones to get it really blend, it's one challenge. And in a way, we are small. We are, of course, much smaller than an orchestra. So everything is audible and you feel very naked when you play with the combination, especially as a flutist, because you're often the soprano and the leading voice. But also it is sort of small compared to orchestra, but as a chamber group, it's quite big. Mm. We can be even 10 players, but we don't have a conductor. So that is one thing that when we practice, we really need to discuss who is leading when and who is the rhythmical part and who we will follow and who plays the bass. And when we have the idea of who is leading where, then we really have to make the breathing together and have a lot of eye contact and also physical movement to make the ensemble work together. And also we don't have anybody outside to really hear the balance. So this is that we really have to think of the blending and when you will lead and when you will be more on the background. Like I think for flute is very, very interesting. Actually, it is something which is of course very important in the orchestra also, that sometimes you have to really blend in the background, and sometimes you have to suddenly be the soloist. Like you have to have a very flexible way of changing your sound and playing.
Yeah, there's so many gold nuggets in that. And the one I want to highlight, because I think it will segue into the next question beautifully, is just the size of it. To me, when I was getting ready to talk with you today, I thought the size of your ensemble is unique because you mentioned it's not small, like it's not like a quartet or a wind quintet, but it's not an orchestra either. It's that 10-11. It's right there. And it's because my husband is an audio engineer, I see him recording different setups all the time. So just like solo and piano or a trio, a quartet. And then I've seen him record like a large ensemble, but really never an ensemble that's that 10-11 number. And to me, it's an interesting balance, right? It's not small, it's not big. So I'm curious, when the audio engineer sets you up, does he individually mic everyone, or does he just have one microphone like above the group?
If I remember right, in the Leipzig album, we had both. We had like one general microphone, and then I think we had, at least on both sides of the ensemble, we had microphones. I don't remember how many.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had many different positions of the microphones. It's now it's quite a few years ago, so actually I don't remember very clearly if we had own mics.
Oh, that's okay. I was just curious, just because some listeners on the podcast do get into like audio editing, and so pretty much just throwing out there that if you are into that niche within the music industry, you basically have to experiment with a group like that, because like French horn is a very difficult instrument to record.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The sound goes to sort of wrong direction and it comes back from the walls. So it is always in the concert hall. Also, when we do a sound check, we have to really think a little bit how back we are on the stage, or should we be in the front or where. So one of us goes to listen to the balance if we doubt. So then we can hear from outside.
Yes, a sound check is very much needed. Yeah. So you kind of touched on this where you said that you had to work with the ensemble and decide who's leading who has the driving rhythms, etc. Do you have any other advice for recording an ensemble your size?
I think the rehearsal process, of course, it's very important that during the rehearsals before the recording that we really then have the plan who is the boss where, and also that we know very well what we're going to do, like the artistic solutions. We have an artistic leader who, in a way, he has the last word, but actually we work very much discussing with the whole ensemble, and we try out everybody's ideas, and we find the way we like and how we phrase and what we do. So the clear plan, because we are so many, it has to be a similar idea on everybody's head, like where are we going on this phrase? So we get it out. So actually the rehearsal process has been long now and or many intensive weekends now. And soon we are going to record some French music. And now we have had a very intensive period of practicing for that.
Cool. So specifically, what repertoire is on the CD?
On the new CD, we will play some French wind music. It's Gounod, Petite Symphony, and Gouvi, Petite Suite. And there is Köchlan. I'm not very sure how to pronounce this. I hope it's close enough. Köchlan Septet. It includes saxophone also, this Köchlan piece. And Dandy, Chanson et Danses, which is very beautiful, and Florence Schmidt, lead and scherzo, that is for double woodwind quintet and a solo French horn part. So the first French horn part is actually the soloist of that piece.
Oh, beautiful. I can't wait to hear it.
I'm very excited. It will be nice. I think this French music suits so well for flute. It's very fun to play.
Can you please tell me when the CD does come out in April so that way I can update the website?
Yes, I hope I will find out. I think during this year, probably, hopefully, for Christmas.
That'd be wonderful. Yeah, I want people to be able to obtain the album and listen to it and of course, enjoy it.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. So the group has been working with an arranger, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. And you mentioned in the Facebook Messenger that the arranger just recently put together an arrangement of Ravel's Mother Goose Suite. Can you talk about that process, how the instrumentalists collaborate with the arranger?
Yes, we could say we have an own arranger. His name is Trond Olaf Larsen. He's Norwegian and he is a bassoon player. So he's actually a member of this group. He's been playing the second bassoon, so he's the bass of the group and he's very much inside the group. So he knows very well how to write to this ensemble. And because of the history, I think it's very natural because they used to, in the harmony ensemble, they used to play a lot of arrangements of nice orchestral pieces, for example. So it's very natural that we also do that. And Mother Goose actually works very well in this combination. And it has a lot of nice piccolo things, for example, and nice things for flute. And we have their flute and piccolo, and then also English horn doubling the oboe, and not doubling, but in the combination, the second oboe has also English horn. And it's a lot of different nuances and colors we can create. This Ravel piece, for example, it's so beautiful music. So I'm very happy to get this new arrangement that we can play it with this combination. I think it works very well. And we are going to a little tour on Germany in March, where we are going to play, for example, this Ravel arrangement.
Oh, wonderful. And I was thinking that the repertoire piece you mentioned earlier, it does suit for a beautiful arrangement, just how the piece is in of itself. It seems that it would lend to a beautiful arrangement for a group such as yours.
Yes.
Yeah.
It works very well because of the colors of the orchestration. I think we can, and Trodulaf has made a very beautiful work with thinking how to put them together.
So I'm curious, well, you dabbled on this topic a little bit. How much input does each ensemble member contribute to that process of player to arranger?
Well, he was listening when the arrangement was ready. He was listening to our rehearsal, and we got to ask questions, and he got to comment. And if there was something that didn't really suit or didn't fit so well for the instrument, then we made a little change. But I think in general he understands so well because he's a woodwind player, so it was very good already. But we have space to, of course, give ideas and adjust a little bit together and see like the balance, if we want to mark some nuances differently, if we want to hear more something else and less something, and adjust these kind of things.
It sounds like a true collaboration. It doesn't sound like it's one-sided at all.
No, it's very much like he's in the group and we are working together.
No, that's wonderful. Very healthy.
Yes.
Oh, cool. So let's switch gears just a little bit and let's talk about the upcoming April 2020 Tampere Flute Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And you are the competition coordinator as well as a masterclass clinician. I'm curious about your position as the competition coordinator. Is this or was this your first time to hold a festival committee position like this?
Yes, I could say it's the first time. I've been in a competition jury before, but not as like the coordinator of the jury. Never before.
Yeah, it's a very interesting role to be on a festival committee or an executive committee for a nonprofit music organization. I've worked with the Texas Flute Society in the past, in addition to the National Flute Association, and you learn a lot from that role.
Yes.
So what lessons have you learned, and what's your biggest takeaway from this position?
Well, so far I've been mostly mentally preparing now to this job because we are just waiting for the applicants to send the videos.
Okay.
But I'm preparing to, of course, think a lot, like what we think is important, because there might be very many videos. We have to then pick the candidates for the finale. So we have to have a vision of what we are after. And also, I'm thinking how to organize the points we give and how we discuss about with the jury members that we get very fair and like everything done correctly. So I'm preparing these kind of things now.
No, that's great. And I'm glad that you mentioned that just because, like you said, the applications aren't due until March 15th. And this episode will go out March 21st. So, but it's good to hear some big takeaways just for the listeners to hear your mindset prior to the deadline and that you can still be thinking ahead and preparing. So that way, when that deadline comes, you feel good and ready.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm curious with the repertoire requirements, what are they, if any?
Yes, there is 3 different categories for the applicants. And the oldest category is over 18 years. And they have to play on the video, they have to play Bach Partita. And I think first movement. And then Böhm Grande Polonaise. which is very virtuosic piece. And then if they get to the final, then they have to plan a program which includes Mugue. How do you pronounce that? French. Mugue, part of his piece for flute. And category B, you have to record one of the Telemann fantasies. You can pick which one you want out of the 12 options. And then you play Honegger Danse de la Chèvre for solo flute. And in the actual competition, you play Saint-Saëns, this adagio and variation. And category C, it's for students from 6 to 11 years. And they play some Bach on the video, some cello bourrée. It's an arrangement. And then in the finale round, they play one piece by Pascal Proust.
Cool. No, that's really good to hear the repertoire, just to see what other countries and what other committees are looking for and requiring. When the repertoire was chosen, was it you and Beatrice who decided, or how did that go about?
I think it was Beatrice together with probably Alexis Rahman.
Okay.
I was invited to become to remember later when they published this festival. So actually I've not worked as hard as them yet. I will work later. They have done a very big job, and I'm very happy that they do this, because this is very nice for Tampere and very nice for the Finnish flute world, flute circles, that we get a festival like this.
Yeah, and I think it's exciting, like you said, just for Finland, and especially that area, it being the first annual flute festival, right? And so when I'm putting together this series for the podcast to help promote the festival the best way I can, the one theme that keeps coming up for me is just, it's so international. I mean, you have Seiya from Japan, Alexis, who's French, Beatrice, who's Mexican-American. There are just so many different colors being represented in this festival, and I love it. It's fun because I swear I'm not a millennial, but when I do the social media blast, I'm all doing cute little emojis and stuff, and I get to do the Finnish flag and the Japanese flag and the French flag and the Norwegian flag. And it's a lot of fun for me just to see everyone being represented.
Yes, it will be very interesting. And also, I'm thinking of following as much as I just can the other masterclasses also. It is also so inspiring to hear great artists teach great students. You can learn so much. I think it's very good for everything, your own teaching and your own playing, to get some fresh ideas and new perspectives. And it's very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to that.
So, yeah, I love that too, just because us as teachers, when we get to sit in and watch other teachers educate in the masterclass, there are a lot of fresh new ideas that we can get from our colleagues, right?
Yes, it's always somebody just says maybe same thing that you are thinking, but just with a little different twist. So you might actually understand it like, okay, this is what I've been thinking, but I didn't know how to say it. And you can try to explain it next time a little bit differently to your student, and she or he might actually understand it first time. So.
Yeah, that reminds me of when this past summer I went to Romania, and I actually got to see Seiya teach in a masterclass at this international competition. And he was teaching my friend Martin Godoy in this masterclass setting. And there was a section in one of the Telemann fantasies where there were repeated notes. And I remember Seiya saying, well, if they're repeated, you have to put some more space, because then it'll just sound like one, big note, say it was G. And he said, like, when you specifically enunciate ma, you don't go mama, because then it slurs, but you have to say ma. And I thought that was genius. And so that was a little nugget that I got from Seiya back in July 2019.
Okay, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I have to ask about that from him.
There you go. Go up and say, so repeated notes, mama.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Alexis Rahman was there too. And he taught some master classes. And what I got from him is that he was very colorful with his description and how he taught. It was just, his word choices were extremely colorful. And that, for me, really made the music and the teaching come to life.
Okay.
So there's a lot of exciting things to look forward to with this group.
Yes, everybody's so different, and that's the perfect thing.
So when you're a masterclass clinician, which you will be at the festival, when you go in with that mindset of being a clinician, we have such a short time with the students in a masterclass. What do you strive for with the student during that time?
That's a very good question. I think I will have to decide that at that moment when I hear how the student plays, because I think when I first let them play the piece, maybe through or some longer passage, then I get the impression of if there is a technical challenge, then of course I will try to help with that. But also then mentally, I can maybe sense if the person is very nervous, and I can know how to treat her in a way. I mean, I would like to give inspiration, and I would like to be that kind of teacher that the student wouldn't feel that she has to compete or show off, or this music world is very demanding, because in a way we have to compete in many situations. But if you go to an orchestra audition and you think you're going to compete, that will not work. So I would like to somehow find from the person the courage to be herself, to play how she really wants to play, because that is the way to stand out and to really enjoy the music and forget all the other. You cannot plan how you have to play in certain orchestra, or you cannot know what they are after, because there is nothing to measure. There's nothing to put people on, like who is better than another. So you actually, only thing you can do is to try to play the music out and try to make them feel touched by your playing. So as a teacher, I would like to help them to find the point, which is the music, and forget about all the ideas which lead to the competitive mind or anything like that.
Oh, beautifully said. Just giving them the permission and letting them know that they are in a loving, welcoming environment, and just to be able to express themselves fully.
Yes.
I love that.
It's, of course, very short time, but I hope that they would leave the masterclass with some idea of their own strength, what they have, some own ideas.
Oh, I love that. I want to come see you teach.
Welcome. Tampere is a very nice city.
Oh, shoot. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for letting me pick your brain. But in the last segment of the show, I like to do a fun portion called picks. Do you have any picks for the listeners today?
Okay. I was thinking, in my life situation, I wish I had time to read books or something. But at the moment, I'm really with the kids. I'm so busy that I actually don't have very much time to hear my own thoughts. But now, when I've got back to work in summer after my maternity leave, and I've realized that actually the concert day, which used to be the most stressful day of my life before the kids, it is actually now very much my own time, because we don't live in Tampere. And on the concert day, when we have the dress rehearsal, it is always in the morning. And then I have the concert in the evening. So I have a long afternoon. And at first it felt really strange. And I was wondering, what am I supposed to do? But then I found a very new dear hobby. So I always, before the concert, I go to swimming hall. So that would be my pick of the day, because that's my new thing. What I really think it's so nice way to focus on concert. I'm really enjoying the water and the movement in the water and the breathing. I think it's so good for the wind playing to breathe freely in the water. And of course, after that, a sauna, because I'm Finnish. So I go to sauna and I enjoy the warmth and relax. And then when I go to the concert hall, I feel actually very much like a new person. And I think already then my sound is very much more open, because I have the breathing from the swimming. And so I would say, try that.
That's a great pick.
Thank you.
I had a teacher who said that after a long, stressful day of teaching all day and whatnot, she got herself a hot tub, and she said, that's how she unwinds, in the backyard of the hot tub. And so water is very important for the body.
Yeah, definitely. I enjoy it a lot.
Cool. Well, so your theme is water, and my theme is silence. And it's specifically with movies who incorporate being quiet in order to survive. And so I came up with 3 favorite movies of mine that I've seen recently. They're titled Hush, Don't Breathe, and A Quiet Place. So those are my 3 picks for today. Have you seen any of those movies? I don't know if they're available in Finland.
I haven't seen them, no.
Okay.
But I will remember those and check them out.
Oh, cool. Sometimes, like for me, I like to recommend books or movies or anything like that, just because don't you hate it when you're sitting like at Netflix or Hulu and you're like, what do I watch? But if you can if you can remember a title or something, you're like, oh, and that way you don't waste your time browsing through the various titles.
Yes, it's good to know what you're supposed to look after. If you have a good tip, it's very much nicer.
Yeah.
For us, it's the time when the kids fall asleep, then we have the quietness in the house. Your silent theme sounds very promising.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Well, in your case, just when the kids are in bed, you probably don't want to watch a movie about silence. You just want to have silence.
That's also possible. Let's see. Maybe a couple of years after.
Oh, shoot. Well, thank you so much, Annaleena, for your time, talent, and energy. I love picking your brain, and I learned so much.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, for sure. Anytime. And I can't wait to possibly meet in the near future.
It would be nice to meet you too.
Thank you, Annaleena.
Thank you.
Today's sponsor is brought to you by J&K Productions. Did you know that not only are they a production company for podcasts, but they are a recording company for musicians? Any musical recording needs that you may have, J&K Productions can fulfill that need. They have all the necessary equipment and expertise to record your next flute recording for college or graduate auditions, competitions, summer festivals, or a flute album. J&K Productions can record any setup imaginable, from solo flute, small chamber, flute and piano, and much more. Consider J&K Productions for your next recording project. Contact them at jkproductions.media. Thank you for listening to the Flute 360 podcast. For more information, please visit HeidiKBegay.com. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please rate and review in the iTunes store. Let's talk about flute.